great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity. And a second good step would be, we got to do something about the... Should not be canceled or put off her show, as much as I totally disagree with her crazy statement.
Bill Maher just went straight at Whoopi Goldberg, and this time, he didn't hold back at all. He took one careless line from Whoopi Goldberg on national television and completely tore it apart, turning it into a brutal public embarrassment. And he did it with just one sentence that went viral across the internet. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how it all went down. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
The Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United States.
Keep hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I...
So here is where it all starts. Recently, Whoopi drops a comparison between Iran and America. She puts them in the same moral frame. Now look, I get what she was probably trying to do. She was trying to make a point about injustice, about history, about things America has done wrong. Fine. But the way she said it, that is where everything fell apart. Because when you casually put a country where people face state executions, religious police, and zero freedom of expression right next to America in the same sentence like they are equals, people are going to react. And they did. Hard. Now here is the thing most people missed about that moment. The problem was not just the comparison itself. The problem was the confidence behind it. Whoopi did not say it like she was asking a question. She did not say it like she was opening a discussion. Like anyone who disagreed was just not seeing clearly. And that tone, that is exactly what made her a target. Because when you speak with that much certainty, you better be airtight. And she was not even close. And that is where Bill Maher joins the party. Now let me explain something about Bill Maher, because people who do not watch him closely always get this wrong. They think he is just some guy who yells at people. No, Bill Maher's most dangerous weapon is not volume. It is not anger. It is a calm, short, perfectly aimed line that makes the other person look ridiculous. He does not rant. He just drops one sentence and lets it sit there while the audience processes what just happened. And that is exactly what he did here. In his recent reaction to Whoopi's comments, Bill looked straight into the camera and basically said that if Democrats want to start winning again, they need to do something about The View. That was it. That was the line. Short, brutal, and instantly viral.
What did you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran? I see we were talking about...
Now think about that for a second. Whoopi Goldberg has been on television for decades. Also, she has a massive audience. She goes on air and presents what she believes is a serious moral point. And then Bill Maher, someone who's supposed to be on the same side, comes out swinging and tells millions of people that her program is the problem. Not Fox News, not some right-wing outlet, her show, The View. He flat out said it's damaging the cause. And Bill didn't stop there. He doubled down. He said what Whoopi did wasn't even regular woke. It was stupid woke. Not misguided, not slightly off, straight up stupid. And he delivered it so calmly, it made it clear he meant every single word.
Issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity. And a second good step would be...
Now this is where the story takes a turn that almost nobody is talking about. Because this isn't just about one comment and one reaction. This goes way back. Bill Maher and The View have history, real history, and if you don't know that history, then you're only seeing half the picture. Because Bill has taken shots at The View before, again and again, and there's one brutal line that perfectly captures how he really sees that show. He said, "It is called The View. It is not called The Facts." And that wasn't just a joke, that was a direct hit. Because in one sentence, he completely flipped how people look at that show. What claims to be serious political commentary suddenly looks like nothing more than opinions, feelings, and loud hot takes with zero substance behind them.
And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
And that is why when Bill came for Whoopi this time, it did not feel random. It felt like the latest round in a fight that has been building for years. He has been saying the same thing over and over. That shows like The View prioritize emotion over evidence, that they deal in moral outrage instead of careful thinking. And every time someone on that panel says something sloppy, Bill is right there to point and say, See? This is what I have been talking about. Now let me show you something that makes Bill even more interesting in this whole dynamic, because it is easy to think he is just a critic on the outside throwing stones, but Bill has actually been on The View. He has sat in that chair, he has faced that panel directly, and when he was there, he did not play nice. He did not soften his takes to avoid awkwardness. He said exactly what he says on his own show. There is this moment from his appearance where he told them straight up that his bond with his audience has always been that he does not pull a punch, ever, for anyone.
Around the fence.
I think you lose all credibility. I do. I mean, my bond with my audience has always been I don't pull a punch.
Yeah.
My bond with my audience is you're not going to like everything I say, but you know I'm saying what...
You see that? That is his whole identity in one sentence. He is telling you who he is. He is telling Whoopi who he is. And when someone tells you they will not hold back, and then you hand them the perfect opportunity to prove it, that is on you. And Whoopi handed him that opportunity on a silver plate. Now let me break down Whoopi's actual weak spot here, because I think it is important. Whoopi is not a stupid person. Nobody is saying that. But she has a pattern, and the pattern is this. She speaks with enormous moral force, full confidence, final tone, like the conversation is over before it started. And when her framing is sharp and her facts are solid, that works beautifully. But when the framing is off, when she reaches too far or makes a comparison that does not hold up, that same confidence becomes her biggest weakness. Because she has already closed the door on nuance. She has already said this is how it is. And now she is stuck defending a position she stated like it was undeniable, when really it was full of holes. And that is exactly what happened with the Iran comparison. Alyssa Farah Griffin was on the panel talking about what actually happens in Iran, the executions, the treatment of women, the religious authoritarianism, and Whoopi pulled the conversation toward America's racial history. And the moment the conversation shifts to religion, things get way more explosive. And in Whoopi Goldberg's case, that's exactly where it blew up. But here is where it breaks down. Acknowledging historical horrors and saying two current systems are the same thing, those are two very different moves, and Whoopi blurred the line between them, and the audience noticed, and the internet noticed, and most importantly, Bill Maher noticed.
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedown plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now.
And Bill's framing was devastating. He basically said, this is not 1920. America today, with all its problems, is not Iran. And saying it is does not make you brave. It makes you look out of touch. And worse, it gives your opponents exactly what they need to dismiss everything you say. That is the part that really stings, because Bill was not just saying Whoopi was wrong, he was saying she was actively hurting her own side, that every time someone on The View makes a comparison like that, it is not helping the progressive cause. It is handing ammunition to the people who want to paint the entire left as disconnected from reality. So now Whoopi is in a position where she is not just facing disagreement, she is facing the argument that she is a liability. And that is a much worse place to be. Now here is what a lot of people are not understanding about why this hit so hard. The real humiliation here was not a shouting match. Nobody screamed at anybody. There was no dramatic walkout. The real humiliation was that Whoopi's clip became Exhibit A. It became the thing people point to when they say TV commentary has gone off the rails. On one side, you have Whoopi making a serious, emotional, moral claim on national television. On the other side, you have Bill Maher and a growing list of commentators picking up that same clip and saying this right here, this is the problem. This is why people are tuning out. This is why serious conversation is dying. And then it got worse for Whoopi, because it was not just Bill. A black Republican Congressman, Wesley Hunt, went on Bill's show and said something that completely flipped the script. He said he was elected from a white majority district, and his point was clear. That is America. That is what is actually happening in this country right now, not what Whoopi was describing.
Iran, when protesters came out in the streets to protest against this regime, which is our unequivocal right under the Constitution in the United States, did they get met with the same treatment? No, they were shot to death and they had their eyes shot out as punishment. So my response is, how dare you, how dare anybody compare the life that they're fortunate enough to live in the United States to what Iranian people are going through now and have been going through for the past 46.
And you see what happened there? Now it is not just Bill Maher pushing back. It is another voice, from a completely different background, publicly rejecting Whoopi's framing. And when multiple people from different angles all land on the same conclusion, that is when a narrative becomes really hard to fight. This is where I want you to understand something about television. On TV, there is something worse than being criticized, and that is being mocked. Criticism you can fight, you can respond, you can argue back. But mockery? Mockery takes away your authority. It makes people not want to take you seriously. And once that happens, it does not matter what you say next. People are already laughing. And Bill Maher is a master of mockery. That is his whole thing. He does not just disagree with you, he makes disagreeing with you feel like the obviously funny, obviously correct position, and once the audience is laughing, you have already lost. Now before I get to the final point, let me take you back for a second, because there is a piece of this story that adds a whole other layer.
On Monday's episode of The View, Goldberg blasted Maher's remarks, saying it's not funny for people who have lost their kids and other family members.
Listen, nobody on the planet really wants to go through this. This is not something we're doing because it's, sexually gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody. Because if you're the one who's not paying attention and you're coughing and sneezing, you don't want to then stay out of the public, man.
During COVID, Whoopi actually went after Bill. She called him out for being flippant about safety. She basically said he was being reckless with people's lives, and at the time, that was a real hit. Bill took heat for it, so this is not a one-way street. These two have been going back and forth for a while. But here's what makes Bill so hard to pin down. After all of that, after the disagreements, after the shots fired in both directions, Bill actually defended Whoopi when she got in trouble for other comments. He said disagreement should not mean cancellation. He stood up for her right to be wrong without being destroyed for it.
About free speech. Whoopi Goldberg, who, by the way, I hope is still a friend, we can disagree with each other, should not be canceled or put off her show, as much as I totally disagree with her crazy statement. Free speech. She should be there. She shouldn't get a timeout or apologize for her views on race, as much as I disagree with them. And she certainly shouldn't have to sit out like a child and think about what she did. The View suspending someone for sharing a view is like firing Pat Sajak.
And that is what makes him so dangerous in this situation, because he can say, I am not trying to cancel you. I defended you before. I believe in free speech. But right now, you are wrong, and I am going to show everyone exactly why. When someone fights for your right to speak and then uses that same platform to dismantle what you said, there is no comeback for that. That is checkmate energy. And that is why this latest round hit different from all the others. Bill was not coming at Whoopi as an enemy. He was coming as a disappointed ally. And that disappointed ally voice, that is the most damaging voice in all of public debate. Because you can dismiss your enemies. You cannot dismiss someone who has proven they are willing to defend you. So let me land this where it needs to land. What happened here was a collision between two very different approaches to public conversation. On one side, you had The View's formula, emotion first, moral urgency, historical pain, speak with conviction, and dare anyone to push back. On the other side, you had Bill Maher's formula, sarcasm, a well-timed punchline, surgical clarity, and a delivery so smooth that the audience is laughing before they even realize they have picked a side. And this time, Bill's formula won, not because he was louder, not because he had a bigger platform, but because he took one sentence, just one, and used it to flip the entire narrative. Do something about The View. That was it. 5 words. And the clip went everywhere. The story was no longer about what Whoopi was trying to say about injustice. The story became about Whoopi being the example of what is wrong with a certain kind of TV commentary. And I think the real lesson here, the one that matters beyond this specific fight, is simple. On television, confidence and correctness are not the same thing. You can speak with all the conviction in the world. You can believe every word you are saying. But if your comparison is off, if your framing is sloppy, if you leave even one crack in your argument, someone is going to find it. And in this case, that someone was Bill Maher, and he did not just find the crack, he turned it into a headline. This time, Whoopi Goldberg did not just face backlash. Bill Maher took that backlash and shaped it into a moment no one is going to forget anytime soon. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. That's it for today. Goodbye.